Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. El Condor is a 1970 American Western film that was directed by John Galerman. It probably is one of those films that has slipped by you, but I think it's worth talking about and worth watching. The movie stars Jim Brown, Lee Van Cleef, Patrick O'Neill, Mariana Hill, Iron Eyes Cody, Imogen Hassall, and Elisha Cook Jr. The storyline goes that within the confines of a hard labor prison camp, the shackled prisoner Luke learns for the first time about El Condor, the legendary Mexican stronghold situated in the heart of the desert that's said to house the mythical gold reserves of Emperor Maximilian. Soon driven by a burning desire, Luke escapes the camp and he joins forces with the cunning Apache-speaking gold prospector Jaru, with both being intent on seizing this vast fortune at El Condor. They remain oblivious to the fact that they have to deal with this seemingly impenetrable fortress that is protected by the loyal and nearly invincible army of General Chavez. Given these circumstances, the two intrepid treasure hunters, aided by Jaru's contingent of 100 seasoned Apache warriors, must quickly formulate a strategy to breach this fortress, though they really don't know what they're getting themselves into and what the end result may be. The movie was financed by National General, who in October of 1968 announced that they had purchased the original script and would make the film the following March. But filming got pushed back. In April of 1969, National General announced that the movie would be a part of a slate of 13 films that they would make, costing a total of $35 million in all, and that John Galerman would be attached to this project. The studio had recently made a film that was called Daddy's Gone A-Hunting, based on a script by Larry Cohen. After the studio decided to make the movie, they went ahead and built the fort in the town of Almeria, Spain. But then they decided they disliked that script, and they paid Cohen to travel to Spain and write a new film around the existing sets. He wrote that script, and the studio was really happy with it, and they attached Jim Brown and Lee Van Cleef to it immediately. But at one point in pre-production, Van Cleef changed his mind about doing the film on the advice of one of his friends, who said that that character was absolutely ridiculous. But the screenwriter Cohen persuaded Van Cleef to do it anyway, arguing that it was a comedic role along the lines of Humphrey Bogart's character in The African Queen. And I'll tell you, Van Cleef knocks this role out of the park. He makes the film what it is. You can't keep your eyes off of him, and you constantly listen for the next thing he's going to say, because it's always outlandish. It's said that the director Galerman and the producer Andre de Toth didn't get along at all during the production, and that their conflict actually came to blows at one point during the production. It's not said who won that fist fight. That huge fortress that you see in the film that was built in Spain for the movie was also used and featured in other films, including A Reason to Live, A Reason to Die from 1972, and Conan the Barbarian from 82. Iwa Allen was the first choice for the Mariana Hill role, but the director got off to a bad start with her. He reportedly began by asking her to strip for him so that he could see if she was qualified for the part, since it involved quite a bit of nudity. Allen, who had stripped willingly enough in the movie Candy from 1968, objected strenuously to his attitude and to the way he presented it, and so did her husband. She also remembers that the director made matters worse by saying he could not understand her modesty and telling her that you're no better than a whore. Bystanders that heard this kept her husband from wringing the director's neck, and she immediately dropped out of the project. They then turned to Mariana Hill, who was an American actress known for starring in this film and High Plains Drifter with Clint Eastwood. She was in a lot of other films as well, in smaller roles, and she also had a lot of television time to boot, including roles on My Three Sons, Hogan's Heroes, Love American Style, Perry Mason, Bonanza, High Chaparral, Gunsmoke, and the list just goes on and on. She originally didn't want to take on this role because she had heard stories about other recent films that were made in Spain, but her manager ended up talking her into it. She later went on to say that it was a pretty bad experience doing it, but she had to admit that she didn't really remember much about it. She felt confused during most of the shoot, as most people did. She wasn't a drinker. As a matter of fact, she said she never touched the stuff, and there was a lot of drinking going on during the production, which she felt affected the karma on the set. The movie was given an R rating for obvious reasons. Its violence, its explicit language, and quite a bit of nudity. And in the film, you'll see Imogen Hassall in her first and only career nude scene on the big screen, although she did model nude in a few men's magazines at the time. She said that her manager pushed her to do both to try to raise her visibility with producers, but she hated it. She said that the photo shoots were bad enough, but dealing with this film's director was terrible. He refused her request for a closed set for her fully nude scene in the film. She spent all day naked in front of a large Italian male film crew who kept leering at her body. Galerman had her shoot several takes, even though the scene was a fairly simple one, and she was never even offered a robe in between the shoots either. After all this happened, she started getting offers for roles that required nudity in the pictures, but she turned them all down, which affected her career and upset her manager. It went on that her private life was a regular subject of interest in the tabloid newspapers. She was known for playing sexy, scantily clad characters on film and TV. And then to top that off, she wore very revealing outfits to the film premieres that she was in, resulting in her being given the nickname the Countess of Cleavage. She was found dead on November 16, 1980, the result of her own hand. Go back and watch what I think is a really good film. I think you might enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.